Okay, so not doing a presentation on tax, accounting, super, even podcasting or anything like that, but something a little bit different today. I was only about earlier in the week. I was sort of thinking about possible things that I could possibly, present, and this is something I've sort of been involved in very recently. And I felt, well, I'm not sure how many people at Bots would probably know about this, so let's just let them know about it and see what they think, because I'm looking around the room here and I'm seeing a lot of little notepads and I'm seeing a lot of little things like that, people writing stuff down, and I just wonder what sort of organisation there actually is there. So the bullet journal method. Okay, so who was the founder? Who was the founder of the bullet journal method? So the bullet journal, originally created by a guy by the name of Ryder Carroll. So Ryder Carroll actually immigrated to America from Austria, from Vienna, in the late 90s. He's born in 1981, so he's probably about 38, I'm guessing. So basically, he obviously is a digital product designer, and obviously he's an author because he's written a book. When he was, obviously during his life, he's been diagnosed with learning disabilities early in his life. He was forced to figure out alternative ways to stay focused and be productive. And through trial and error and tribulation, whatever you want to call it, he's developed his own methodology that went far beyond simple organisation. His focus, I guess, with the bullet journal was to help others learn about the method, and obviously it's been fairly big. It's been taken up, and basically he did it. He's done like if you've heard of Kickstarter. Anyone heard of Kickstarter, which is where you do crowdfunding and that sort of thing? Raised about a heap of money from Kickstarter, and then it's turned into the website and the book. So that's how it all sort of came about. Generally, all that's really required in a lot of cases is just a notebook. Although it's a notebook, it's still, the whole bullet journal system is actually a methodology. It's described as a mindfulness practice disguised as a productivity system. It's designed to help you organise your what while you remain aware of your why. And sometimes when you're starting out these bullet journals, you may not know exactly what your why is, but actually starting the process of doing a bullet journal, sometimes you can actually find out what your why actually is. So the goal of the bullet journal is to help its users live intentional lives, so very planned lives. I guess everything gets recorded, everything's there for keepsake. So ones that are productive and meaningful. So what I think what's the next slide? How do we get to the next one? There we go. So what I'm going to do now is play a 6-minute clip, just Ryder explaining about the bullet journal methodology in his own words. That's the first sort of clip I'd like to play. Future log, days of the month. Okay. I'm telling you, this is a bit about the bullet journal. Now, I sort of had a look, going around looking to get one once I sort of found out about it. Officeworks sell what they call the dot journal, or the dot for about $15 each, tax deductible, of course. Okay. Use any type of pen, but use something that's going to be legible. I guess the nicer you make the journal, the more inclined you are to use it. So you can get leather-bound ones I've seen as well that they advertise online. Use a nice pen if you can, because that way it just adds a bit more meaningfulness to what you're actually doing. Ink-proof paper. Make sure you can sort of open it flat like this, and also have this elastic sort of closure band where you can actually just wrap it up like that, or you can throw a pen in there like this. Put your pen in there somehow so that you're losing your pen. Okay. Highlighters and rulers are also good to use. Okay, that's how to get started. Creating your bullet journal setup. Obviously, we spoke about the bullet journal index in the future log. That's the page where you can write future appointments, dates for a month you haven't set up yet. That way you can easily reference it back and see, let's say you've got a dentist appointment coming up or a deadline that's sneaking up on you, you can see that happening. Usually, as I said, you can break that down into 3, 6 or 12 months. You divide the page into equal sections using a ruler. The monthly spread is usually a 2-page per month. You've got on the left-hand side all the dates, as we saw, on the right-hand side all the tasks that have to be done. So keep your month there at a glance. You could use more of a calendar type setup rather than write it how he uses it just like that. You can probably potentially use more of a calendar type thing there if you wanted to. I've seen that work as well, and you can obviously including the goals in the month on the right hand side. Another thing, there's also a Dot Journal released a 1920 financial year sort of thing as well. So in there you've got they've got, rather than sort of dailies or monthlies, there's also a weekly. So there's a 2-page spread for weekly, so you can have that sort of format as well if you like. And that you can obviously cover your scheduling, your appointments, your deadlines, your goals, all that sort of stuff. Dailies, that's the workhorse of the bullet journal. You're just going sort of in order. I usually stick to a page a day, but you saw what Ryder did. He sort of, once he got sort of, if only using sort of half a page, then you'll start the next day straight after and keep going like that. It's the daily to-do list on steroids. You're writing everything down. Horizontal versus vertical. I like to sort of go downwards, like that seems to work better. Now, also the other thing you can do with your bullet journal is you can add collections. You sort of mentioned collections. Collections is catch everything else, or if it doesn't fit anywhere in the journal, you can sort of start a collection. So they're basically consisting of lists of items of priority. So you might, let's say you might want to project manage something. So you might have a project that's got a list of tasks in a particular project. So you might start off a page with a list of stuff on the project, and you might put stars next to the stuff that's really important in order of priority. Or you can have a list of, songs that you like to listen to. So, if you listen to Triple J like I do, you might start up your own sort of playlist. You might write down songs as you listen to them, put a little star, the ones that you really like, so you can, that's a couple of examples of some lists that I've seen used. And you're keeping that away from all your monthlies, your weeklies, and your dailies, so you can always go to your journal and basically go to the back of it, and you could do your lists there or toward the back of the journal, as long as you index it properly. Habit tracker, this is another one I've seen people use within the bullet journal. So you write down, I saw a page where they just had a whole page of the month, all the different habits, and they had like 31 boxes, and they had about 7 or 8 different things, exercise, whatever it is. So they tick it. If they did it in that day, they just tick the box, and if they missed it, they say, well, hang on, I forgot to do exercise that day, or I forgot to, or ate too much sugar or something, So you have habit tracker is one that I've seen used. Quite good. It gets rid of. You can obviously create positive habits, get rid of negative habits. Just an example. How am I going for time? Nearly done. Probably a couple of minutes away. Other uses, you can do things like a gratitude log. So you can include stuff that's reaffirming to yourself, that you're grateful for, like the bullet journal itself. An affirmation log, so a bit of more positivity. Meal planning, grocery lists, a recipe bank, setting up goals, rewards. Financial planning works as well in the bullet journal. As far as style is concerned, I've seen lots of different styles when I've done a bit of a look at this online. There's no right or wrong way for style. Obviously, if it stands out more, it's going to have more effect, as we said. Frequently asked questions. Here we go. I'm not artistic. Can I still bullet journal? The answer is yes. Do it however you want. As you see, with most of writer styles is fairly just writing words down. But I've seen others that they spend a bit more time setting up their journal. They drew fancy pictures of fish and all this sort of stuff. So there's different ways you can set them up, but you don't have to be artistic. Obviously, start straight away. Once you're sort of motivated to say, "Oh, I want to make this change," get there, start, go and get it. How long to try it for? See how it goes. You need to do it for at least 2 to 3 months to see if it's for you. I don't think it may not be for everybody, but at least after 2 or 3 months, you'll see if you've got some clarity out of using the system or not, and keep using it. Or for some reason, if you make a decision, but don't sort of just say no after a couple of weeks. Try it for 2 or 3 months is what we're saying there. You lose your notebook. What do you do there? So make sure right at the front of your notebook, Tim Wilshire, got my phone number. It's got my email address, my address. Ryder actually lost his a bullet journal on a train or a bus, guess what? It got returned to him. Okay, so make sure you do that. Recurring tasks. Obviously, you can set those up like a task list or just a once-off sort of page thing at the back you can keep referring to. If you forget to check in or your diary's away or your journal's away from you for a while, Ryder's also got an app, which is very good. He's got a bullet journal app there, and what this is designed purely for if you're away from your journal for say a day or 2 days or less, you can actually put the notes into your app, okay? But you got to remember then to put that into your journal within 48 hours, otherwise it disappears. But it's a good way to sort of fill in any gaps. The daily log can be as big as you need it to be. Migration, obviously methods for doing that. You're obviously looking at obviously tasks that are still open or things that you want to include if you're going from one thing to another or one journal to another. I've read that digital calendar can replace parts of the future log, but it's completely up to you. Multiple projects, just use different collections, as in lists and yeah. Advice from seasoned bullet journalists: when you reach the end of the journal, get a new one. What to migrate? So we spoke a little bit about that. Don't overdo it. Obviously, just keep within your limits. Give it time. Give it a couple of months, as I said. Don't try to compare you necessarily to someone who's been doing this for years or whatever. You use your own sort of style, I guess. Experiment, practice, try your own lists. Now it's your time to shine. And that's it. Thank you very much.